Hello, boys and girls. It's Whiskey Pete here with my good friend, Mr. Nathan.
Hello,
from
sir.
Whiskey Wine Hustle.
Exactly.
Nathan, Whiskey Wine Hustle. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Thanks for coming down.
Thanks, buddy.
We're hanging out in the bunker bar down at Booze
Well
House, right near the Coke sign in Woolloomooloo. Great bar, check it out. But we are here to drink some whiskey. And I bought a pile of interesting things, a little leftovers I've had from masterclasses that I thought we could delve into and share some information with the people at home about. Now, have you seen this one before?
I haven't, and
No.
it's a cracking looking label.
It is an unreal label. Check this out, guys. So this is Buckley's Rye Whisky. Amazing whiskey. It's actually made in Indiana out of MGP. But it's Aussie owned by a bloke named Hugh, who's an absolute legend, and has a really, really cool story behind it. Well, I talk some shit, I might pour some whiskey, huh? Has a really cool story about it. So have you ever heard the term Buckley's chance, or you've got Buckleys?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So apparently the story traces back to a dude called William Buckley, who ended up getting busted in convict days over in the UK. Oh, I love that nose. And he was incarcerated. They threw him on a ship, shipped him out to Australia, and he was in a prison camp, which they tried to set up in Victoria, down somewhere near the Mornington Peninsula. Anyway, they decided to abandon this camp because it was so hard, and then they pushed down to Tasmania, and the day they were packing up the camp, William Buckley actually escaped from the camp. The camp was actually in a town called Rye.
No way.
No shit, right?
Okay.
So he actually escaped, and as he escaped, he found a dead Aboriginal warrior. I can't remember what his name was. It might be on the back of the bottle. It's not, but it's on the website. Probably couldn't pronounce it anyway. But he found a famous Aboriginal warrior who'd actually passed away, and he picked up the spear. And he was walking down the beach with the spear, and the other Aboriginal tribes people spotted him, and because it's the first white man they'd ever spotted, they actually thought it was the reincarnation or the ghost version of this other famous Aboriginal warrior, and he ended up assimilating into the tribe and surviving for 30 years, and then they came back and tried to set up the Melbourne penal colony, or set up back in the regions and give it something like that. And they found this guy, and he still had a WB tattoo on his arm, but he'd completely forgotten English language and everything. So you've got Buckleys. It's like you have no hope of surviving, but we
Buckley's
now
right.
have Buckleys. And it was a dude that shouldn't have survived and landed in a town called Rye. Could you think of a better name for a rye whiskey, right? And distinctly patriotic as well.
Yeah.
Now, as I mentioned, they're producing it over in the US currently, but plans are to bring production back to Australia as it becomes more affordable to do so and volumes increase. Because obviously with Australian production, small distilleries, it's hard to do it and keep a decent price point. So do you want to just check out those legs? Check out the nose?
It smells delightful.
Right.
And quite soft. I was just looking at the percentage. It's only 40%, so it's very approachable straight away on the nose.
And that was my first thought as well. Rye whiskey is synonymous with being incredibly spicy and punchy and
cloves,
really meaty and really strong kind of flavours. But it's soft.
It's soft and
approachable. It's delicate. It's on the nose. It's a rye whiskey for anyone, everyone. Whiskey for all.
Yeah, exactly right.
Perhaps.
It's nice.
You guys will get that in the future.
Exactly.
Maybe.
No, it's not. Like even the taste, you get that traditional clove, that rye spice, but it's like balanced,
dry baking spices. But it's got that sweetness that you get out of like hot cross bun glaze.
Exactly.
So you've got the baking spices and hot cross bun glaze and the sweetness coming through,
it smells
while
so
still
good.
really grainy as well. It's just it's like caramelized hot cross buns in a glass.
And good to have a nice local product as well, obviously.
Drink local, support local, think local, right? Like there is a little bit going on with the Aussie rye market. Archie Rose Rye won the world's best rye whiskey, which is exciting, and Buckley's is coming up. I think it's about $80 a bottle, which I think's really, really good value. Especially when you consider its competitors that sit around there. The Rittenhouse is around the $100 mark. There we go. Let there be light.
Right as we talk about price point.
Buy a bottle.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's coming from a good base. Obviously, MGP, if people don't know, it's what?
So
the biggest?
Yeah, but it's large. It's the old Seagram's distillery.
Yep.
Where to buy it? You can buy it online, Buckley's Rye Whisky
through.
or buckleysryewhiskey.com.
You'll put the link.
Just Google it and I'll put the link. I believe it's also in BWS as well. It's going into a few other nationals and then independents are coming through as well. So, number one, Hugh, cracking whiskey.
Yeah, very drinkable.
Number two,
mate.
Mr. Nath, Whiskey, Wine, Hustle. I should have asked you more questions. We'll do that on the next one. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers. See you next time. Slanja. Cheers, guys.
Mate,
I always like to slip one of those in there just somewhere to surely quietly. Yeah, it's also right. And it's got length, but it doesn't sit heavy. Like a lot of rye whiskies can kind of cramp your palate, I find.
Like the smell is quite soft.
We might leave this in the B-roll at the end.
Yeah, like the flavour is much more complex. Yeah.
Yeah, it's complex, but not too fucking intense where it overpowers everything.
They're very approachable for someone who doesn't like
Rye Whiskey.
Yeah.
Not too fucking intense. But their slogan is "You've got Buckleys." Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I love the story as well. It makes me want to find out more.
Yeah.
About
Well,
it.
I'll introduce you to Hugh, but I'll stop the video now.
Yep.